Hi, welcome to our Pharma Topics channel. Our topic of discussion is Western blotting. Western blots are also called immunoblots, and they are very similar to southern blots, except the protein molecules in a sample are separated by electrophoresis, and the blots are transferred to a membrane. Let us see the steps in the Western blotting. First, the protein extraction by SDS phage. Separated components are transferred into suitable blotting membranes. The next step is blocking to prevent the non-specific binding of the detecting antibody. Then primary antibody addition specific to the proteins. It is followed by addition of secondary labeled antibodies which are specific to the primary antibodies. And then the substrate corresponding to the labeled antibodies are that is enzymes are added which reacts to give fluorescence or light which could be detected. The first step is the protein molecules are separated by SDS phage. In this, actually the separation is based on the size of the components, the proteins which are present in the sample. So there will be two type of gels. One is the stacking gel, and the next one is the resolving gel. With these, the components are separated, and different bands are obtained for depending upon the molecular weight of the protein. The next step is blotting transfer. The kit actually contains several materials for the blotting transfer. It contains the sponge pad, blotting paper, membrane, which is used for transfer of the proteins, and gel. And it will have the gel actually moves based on the electrophoretic mobility of the ions which are present in the proteins. So let us see the membranes which are used for blotting transfer. First one is nitrocellulose. It is most commonly used, having a pore size of 0.05 to up to 0.055 microns. But its major limitation is less mechanical stability. The next is nylon, which is polyamide. It is positively charged and can adhere to the protein molecules. It has a higher mechanical stability when compared to nitrocellulose. Next is polyvinylidene difluoride. It has a Teflon base with more binding capacity and it is mechanically more stable. Next is ion exchange membranes like diethyl aminoethyl or carboxymethyl membranes. Let us see the types of blotting transfers. The first one is diffusional blotting. Here the blotting membrane is attached with the agarose gel electrophoresis, and the blotting it is like a simple diffusion. The proteins get separated. The gel here used is polyacrylamide gel or agarose gel electrophoresis. The next technique of blotting transfer is capillary blotting. Here filter papers are used, and the force applied is capillary force, which is used for separation of the proteins. The next is blotting transfer by vacuum blotting. By creating a vacuum, the from the gel, the proteins gets attached to the membrane when it is placed in a vacuum chamber. The next is blotting transfer by electroblotting. Here the electrodes are used. With the help of the transfer of the ions between the positive and negative electrodes, actually the proteins get separated to the membranes. So from the gel, it gets attached to the membrane. The next is blotting transfer, which is wet blotting. Here sponge filter papers are used. So the membrane is transferred into the wet gel where it attracts the proteins. The next is blotting transfer, that is semi-dry blotting. So it has the gel membrane and with the help of filter papers, so the separation happens. Then the next one is blotting transfer by bidirectional blotting. So here moist paper towel and plastic containers are used. The step 3 is blocking, that is avoiding the non-specific binding. So blocking agents are added to block the non-specific binding. Then the step 4, 5 and 6 are addition of primary antibody followed by secondary antibody, and it is followed by its detection. So it will appear like this. This is the primary antibody and this is the secondary antibody labeled with an enzyme, and when the substrate is added, it gives the colors. So you will get a fluorescence when the particular proteins are detected. The detection systems in Western blotting are, first one is radio labeling, that is by autoradiography. Here the imaging moiety will be there, it will be targeted, and the clinical readout will be with the autoradiography instrument. And next is non-radioactive labeling, that is by chemiluminescence. Let us see the detection systems in brief. The most important is harsh radish peroxidase system. So here the proteins are there with the primary antibody. So this is the primary antibody, this is the secondary antibody, this is the enzyme, that is harsh radish peroxidase. So here the protein is on the membrane, which is transferred from the gel. The primary antibody that specifically binds to the target protein. Secondary antibody is conjugated with horse radish peroxidase, and the cross linker is polyethylene imine plus 1% glutaraldehyde. The substrate is chloronaphthol, which is a chemiluminescent or that is a chromogenic substrate. So that gives when it is broken, it gives a purple color. So this system is a horse radish peroxidase system, which is very widely used for detection. So actually the number of secondary antibodies, they bind to the single primary antibody that amplifies the signals. The next is a biotin streptavidin system. So here the proteins are attached to the membrane after they are transferred from the gel. Then that is the primary antibody specifically binds to the target protein. Secondary antibody is conjugated with streptavidin biotin system. So then the addition of the substrate, that is a chloronaphthol, gives a chromogenic or color aspect, which is chemiluminescence. So here also a single primary antibody can attach to multiple secondary antibodies, which can amplify the signals. So let us see the applications of Western blotting, which is very widely used. So it is used as a confirmatory test for HIV infection. Let us take this case, patient 1, patient 2 and patient 3. They are tested for, screened for the HIV infection. So when they are done with the Western blot, we come to know that patient 1 is positive, patient 2 is negative in case of the Western blot, whereas both of them are positive in case of ELISA test. So it is used as a confirmation test. So in case of to reduce the false positive errors. So the first patient serum contains HIV antibodies. So it is confirmation that he is having HIV. Patient serum contains no HIV antibodies. That is the second patient. So it was a false positive report in ELISA, and the patient serum contains no HIV antibodies. That is the third patient, which is in ELISA also it is negative, and in Western blotting is also it is negative. The next is it is a confirmatory test for hepatitis B, hepatitis C, herpes simplex virus. Then it is used for detection of Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. That is, it's a prion disease. It can characterize the proteins produced by rDNA or recombinant DNA technology, and it is used to identify blood doping in the athletes. So there are numerous applications of Western blotting. So regarding Western blotting, it's I hope it's a short nutshell information which could be useful for you. Thank you for listening. Happy learning. Kindly share this to more of your friends. If you like this video, kindly press the like button. Kindly subscribe to our Pharma Topics channel for further updates. Thank you.